I hope everyone had a great 4th of July. I know I did. So it's been a little while since I have done one of these videos. So as you know, my name is Enrico. I'm an attorney who specializes in AI company representation. I also consult for companies that are looking to implement AI solutions within their organizations, acceptable use policies, and implementation strategies. I have done dozens of videos helping professionals, lawyers, and other professionals use AI within their businesses in order to level up, in order to 10x your capability as a lawyer or other professional using AI. There's been data security videos, which you could go back and check out. Make sure that the way you're using AI is protecting your proprietary information. There's videos on prompting strategy. Today, we're going to do something a little bit different. For those of you who've been around for a while and have already joined our growing community of professional AI users, I provided you this last week a spreadsheet with my most important prompting strategies and prompts specific to professionals, to lawyers, that you can simply use. So if you have not already joined our community of professional AI users, you can go to a link that I am putting down in the description, and that link is going to take you to a form that you can fill out to join our community. Once you join the community, you'll get access to our Google group, which will then allow you to have access to this spreadsheet. And the spreadsheet's a working document, and it contains a number of tabs, some general rules for prompting, strategy, if you will, for prompting ChatGPT and other AI tools, a list of general prompts specific to lawyers but are very easily adaptable to other professionals. And then, as you know, there is an extension that Google provides, and it's called GPT for Sheets and Docs. And you can go ahead and enable ChatGPT on Google Docs and Google Sheets. And so I'm going to show you how to automate more complex prompting sequences using Google Sheets. And that's part of this resource that I'm providing to our members, which allow you to, for instance, respond to a client email, respond to an adverse counsel email, generate marketing materials, define an assessment project for a client, all of which require you to do more than just simply ask ChatGPT in a sentence or two to do something, all of which require more complex prompting in order to get great output. You can use ChatGPT in Sheets in order to sequence out your prompting strategy, and then after you've got the entire strategy in place, go ahead and put in a command into Sheets that will trigger the API to ChatGPT and provide you that ChatGPT output directly within Google Sheets. So if you've not signed up to join our community, go ahead and do so. If you're already a member of our community, you should have received an invitation to access this resource document. So let's go ahead and take a pause here, and let's go through this spreadsheet and tell you how it's organized. So what should you be doing? How should you be using the information included in the spreadsheet? So the very first tab at the bottom is rules for prompting. And this is probably the most important tab because this really gives you the insight that you need in order to design questions and instructions to your AI assistant, likely ChatGPT. The second tab is going to provide you examples of specific prompts for legal research, legal citations, drafting legal documents, legal writing, prompts for client questions, prompts for legal procedures, prompts for legal technology. And so this will be an expanding list of examples, which are really designed to give you ideas and to help you learn how to interact with AI. Yes, you can come back and reference these spreadsheets, but my goal for you as a professional user of artificial intelligence in order to 10x your capabilities is to start to get you to think in terms of interacting with AI, that you don't have to refer to the spreadsheet. You know intrinsically how to design questions and instructions. We call them prompts, questions and instructions into the tool in order to get a plus output. So let's start with rules for prompting. I'm going to put a link to this video up here so that it can be referenced by you if you need to refer to it. Let's just start with what I've identified as item number 1. Item number 1, general rules for writing great prompts, starts with encouragement helps. Tell your AI it's an expert, and this can help you get higher quality responses. So this is very important. You've probably seen this in other YouTube videos or websites that are providing you tips on prompting, and it's very important. If you want more than a second grade answer to your question, you have to tell ChatGPT that it is a world-class expert at, and fill in the blank, trademark law, offering software as a service. Let's break that down. If you're a lawyer, you're going to say you're a world-class expert in, and then whatever the category of law is, and then maybe whatever the industry is. If you're a client looking to use ChatGPT to get information that is legal in nature, you're going to say that, hey, I'm a world-class platform as a service provider offering these specific tools to users, provided that level of expertise it's going to need in order to give you an expert response. 1.02, follow-on tasks. Ask AI to be more insightful. For example, you can, after you get a response, you can and you should almost always ask ChatGPT to improve that response. You could say, can you improve this response to make it more fill in the blank? Can you make this response more insightful? Can you change the tone of this response to be more aggressive, right? Anything that you can say in English that you could ask an assistant to do, you can ask ChatGPT to do. So don't get caught up in the prompting terminology. This is really about plain English and speaking to your assistant. 103, when in doubt, add detail. If the output's not satisfactory, keep providing more context, okay? For example, you are concerned about being sued and want to reduce risk. That's going to provide more detail, more context. ChatGPT is going to provide you a better response. So you're going to see all these examples of general prompting, and I want you to go through these and take a look at them, see what the examples are, and then try and design some prompts that are going to help you with those examples. So let's just go ahead and do some prompting in order to show you how this works. Now, the first tool that I always pull up in my browser is Whisper Technology. So Whisper Technology is available through the OpenAI platform link. It's in the playground. You have to toggle complete in order to get this little icon here, speech to text. Once you have this up, you can use this to help you draft really long contextual prompts without having to type it in. Even if you're a good typist, dictation is 3 to 5 times faster than typing. It's going to allow you to do more in less time. So let's go ahead and start the recording. You are an expert in trademark law focused on United States trademark law. So I'm going to go ahead and put this into ChatGPT. I'm going to start a new chat. I'm going to go to ChatGPT 4 because I'm a plus user. So here is the first thing. You are an expert in trademark law focused on United States trademark law. Now I'm going to provide more. Okay, I have to provide it its initial task. What am I asking it to do? All right, so let's see. Let's go ahead and provide more context. I'm advising a client on registering their new trademark. I want you to help me explain to that client why it is important to do a trademark clearance search prior to making the final selection of their mark. I also want you to help the client understand what might happen if they select a mark that is already being used or that a similar mark is already being used by another company. So you can see here, I was able to generate a lot of content using Whisper technology very quickly in order to put it into this chat. So let's go ahead and run this and see what ChatGPT comes up with. So it's going to provide importance of a trademark clearance search, avoiding legal consequences, preventing rebranding costs, ensuring registration approval, aid in building a strong brand. And now it's going to provide me the potential consequences of using a mark that's already in use that's either identical or similar. Could be liable for trademark infringement, could lose resource, you could have reputational harm, your own mark can be diluted. So this is great stuff. You could provide this to a client. They've got great context now. You were able to generate what is really strong legal content in a very short amount of time, and you can repurpose this as well. If you're a client, you can start with these types of prompts in order to better understand what you need to be thinking about in order to get a trademark. So let's pretend we're a client here, and let's start over and ask. I am a founder of a new company. We have been looking for a name for our company and are having difficult finding one that doesn't already have someone else using it. I need you to help me define some strategies in order to identify a word or words that we can use to brand our company that doesn't have a high risk of already being used. So a couple things to know here. This is plain English, so it doesn't have to be perfect. I was trying to think, how would a client speak as opposed to a lawyer speak, and come up with a prompt that is one that a client might input, not knowing all the legal jargon. And so let's go ahead and take a look. And it's going to give me some great ideas on how to pick a particular word that might make for a strong trademark. See, all these great ideas. So if you're a client, you can use this tool to supplement the legal services that you're getting from your attorney. So this is really where we are in this beginning part of this prompting strategy. And let's just go ahead and take a look at some of these other tips. Make this better, make this more insightful. Let's go ahead and try that. Go back to Whisper. Could you refer me to some resources on the internet that I might use to help me brainstorm a strong name that can be a strong trademark with a low risk of prior use? So you can see this is a follow-up question. I'm continuing to interact with ChatGPT just like I would with an assistant. The assistant does the tasks that you asked the assistant to do, comes back, you delegate the next task. For many people in business, you're not really tuned into delegation. You might be a founder, you're doing most of the work yourself. You might be a mid-level or lower-level employee, you don't have your own assistant. Getting the ability to be able to have an assistant, speak to an assistant, is a necessary skill for the AI age, and it is one that most people don't have. So that's why speech to text works so good. It really helps you very quickly generate questions that would be the type of question you would ask your assistant. And you can see here, ChatGPT has provided me some great resources and hyperlinks to different tools I can use to brainstorm for a trademark. All right, let's go back to our prompting strategy. Provide step-by-step instructions, asking GPT to confirm that it understands before proceeding to the next step. And so this is one where you're going to say, I want you to follow steps 1, 2, and 3, pause between each step. Let me know when you're ready for the next step. So it might be something to the, that is going to be, I am drafting a website terms of service. Before you begin, I want you to ask me about my business so that you can help me draft. Once I provide you that information, I want you to ask me if I have any special concerns that I want you to consider when you help me draft. That's an example of a step-by-step instruction, and it will do that in a step-by-step fashion most of the time. So let's go ahead and try that. I am an AI startup company that is looking to draft a privacy policy. I want you to follow a series of steps in helping me with the drafting. The first thing I want you to do is ask me about my business and understand the nuances that will help us draft this privacy policy. After you have enough information about my business, I want you, as a next step, to ask me whether or not I have any special concerns that you should consider when helping me draft this privacy policy. After completing this step, I want you to ask whether or not I want you to break up the drafting into sections so that we can iterate on a section before moving on to the next. So you can see again, Whisper just works so well for this because you really just can think it up exactly like you would be if you were across the table from an assistant who you were about to assign tasks to. So let's see how ChatGPT does on this. ChatGPT says, I appreciate your meticulous approach to creating a privacy policy for your AI startup. Here are some questions to start our discussion. Oh, and now it's going to lead me through all of this information. And I could say, first of all, I do want to break this up into sections so that we can take a section one at a time. Second, I want to provide you some information about my business. I am offering an AI service which is going to help companies use AI on their proprietary information. My target companies are any business that wants to run AI internally. My company does collect personal information from all sorts of sources. That proprietary and personal information will be part of the data set, which I'm going to train my AI tool on. We use this personal information in order to help our clients with legal issues. In my instance, we do share information with certain third parties, such as developers and vendors, to the extent we need to implement technology solutions. We store our data in the cloud by the various service providers that we use. We do operate internationally, and we do use cookies. Before getting to specific concerns, let me know whether or not this is enough information or you have other questions about my business. And again, Whisper Technology generating a lot of information here that I am now going to feed back into ChatGPT. So you can see in our prior prompting exercises where we were designing prompts, we were really kind of doing a la carte lessons about how to use or which tools you should be using. And so now we're really starting to transition into how do you use ChatGPT day to day in the real world? How do you sequence it out over a specific set of tasks in order to get value? So let's see what ChatGPT says. Thank you for providing comprehensive review. I do have a few more questions, and so great. Let's go ahead. And the beautiful thing about Whisper is every time you restart it, I start recording, I can go to any web page or application and talk I can pause and not say anything. It doesn't care. Until I come back and stop the recording, it's going to capture everything that I say. So I'm going to start the recording, and then I'm going to go back and answer the questions that ChatGPT has posed. There is a possibility that we're going to transfer in the future or sell the business. We are hoping for a 5-year exit. Now, instead of me referring this out to someone else and waiting for their schedule to permit that work product to come back and then having to review it, one of the beautiful things about AI and one of the reasons why it's so powerful is all this is happening in real time. I'm not asking a real-world assistant to go perform something and then waiting for them to come back. I'm doing all of this in real time. All right, so you can see now AI is going to direct us through this process now that it's got all of its questions answered, and it's going to start a drafting process which we can iterate on. And this can be pretty powerful because if you're concerned about the accuracy of information or whether or not it's complete, you can always ask the AI to check its own work. Okay, so it is saying there are a few more areas that you might consider addressing depending on their relevance to your operations, and it's providing us more information here based on its own self-check. Comprehensive prompts are ones where you're asking for everything all at the same time. They're the long prompts that I've been generating using Whisper technology. Prompt chaining is breaking it down into tasks. We did that in our step-by-step process where we said first do this, then do the next thing. Okay, so we also have done this by going through a process where we get information to the AI about our business model. We invite the AI to ask us questions so that it's developing its own context. Then we're going to the first paragraph, then we'll go to the second paragraph, etc. All right. And one of the things that I always like to do is ask ChatGPT to pause before answering and make sure GPT does not answer too soon. So one of the ways I do that is let me know when you are ready or ask me if I am ready for the next step. Those are great prompt strategies to put at the very end of any prompt in order to get it to take a pause. So this first section, General Rules of Writing Great Prompts, is a great reference for you to take a look at. The next thing we're going to do is take a look at the art of prompt frameworks. So you've probably seen some of this information out there. It's a great way to think about prompt strategy, question strategy, assignment of task strategy. And there's all sorts of variations of this RTF, RCTF, RTCEF, and a lot of other variations which are really providing different types of context for the task that you are going to be asking the AI to do. So let's just take a look at a few of these. R is role, T is task, F is format, and then you can always add an instruction about tone. So you want to define the AI's role, outline the task, and specify the format. Example, as a trademark lawyer, role, create a list of steps which clients must follow to create, register, and protect their trademark. That's the task I'm assigned. And provide it in Excel format. So let's go ahead and try that one. All right, so this is great information on the steps to developing and protecting a trademark. So this is a format I could put into Excel, but what if I wanted to change the format so that all of this was put into rows and columns? Let's try that. This is great stuff. I want you to change the format of your output, putting the numbers in one column, the topic in the next column, and the suggestions in the third column. I want you to put everything in its own row and make it easy for me to put this into Microsoft Excel. So now what I'm doing is I'm changing the format of the output because I'm going to want to cut and paste this into Excel, and you're going to be able to see there's a variety of different things that you can do in order to change the way that ChatGPT provides you the information. an Excel format or spreadsheet format might be a great way to, get the information into a, not only a spreadsheet, but an email that's just easier for someone to navigate. So here we go. You can see it's putting it into Excel format. If I wanted to break down the third column so that each sentence was its own row, I could ask it to do that as well. So let's go back to our spreadsheet. There's also the potential to provide not only the role, the task, and the format, but more context. All right, so here you're going to see that we've added, as by way of example, some more context. Create a list of steps. It's the same type of instruction and task. Assume the client's company's value will be based largely on its trademark value and needs to make sure they're detailed and comprehensive in their approach. So you can see you can put that into ChatGPT. You've provided more context now than you did in the previous one, and you're going to get a different response based on that context. By the way, I'll just remind you that one of the great things about ChatGPT is the share feature. If I wanted to collaborate with an associate attorney or a client, or as a client, I wanted to collaborate with my attorney on this work product so that they can see where we are in the process and what types of things that we have come up with. You can do that using the share feature here. You can see in the sidebar, if you type share link to chat, it's going to provide all of this information. You've got some options here, which we've talked about in prior videos. I do want to share my name, and I can copy this link, and I can send this link by email, by Skype, by text message to anyone else, and they are going to be able to see this entire thread, right? So you can see here, from providing more context, we have a much more detailed list of steps, tasks, and details that are going to be recommended as part of this approach. All right, so now we're going to add something called examples. And examples can be incredibly powerful when you're not getting the right response from ChatGPT. It's not getting its assignment, just like real people sometimes don't get their assignment. So what do? You provide examples. So let's go ahead and cut and paste this one in and watch how ChatGPT processes this particular prompt, which you can see this outline should be less specific, cover less obvious and apparent risks. Example of some of the less apparent risks might be not being able to fund a lawsuit, the time it takes to litigate matters, or the loss of trademark rights if you don't fight. So, boom, you've given it examples saying, okay, I know the obvious stuff about trademarks. Now I want you to dive into some less obvious thing. Here are some examples from some less obvious trademark issues that you might need to be aware of. And now it's going to break this down into a whole different set of information that is going to really help me with the question that I asked. For an upcoming meeting where your client has been accused of trademark infringement and wants to understand their risks and options, prepare an outline of considerations in outline format with headings and subheadings. So you want to prepare for a client call, or your client wanting to prepare for a lawyer call, you can ask ChatGPT to help you prepare for that call. Provide a context, give it some examples, and you can see here is what I would want to talk to my client about is part of that call. Understanding trademark rights, potential risks and consequences, and then legal defense options, strategic considerations. And again, I can share this link. And if I have new content that I've added to ChatGPT, be aware you have to reshare it in order to have that new content included in the information that is being shared. So pretty powerful stuff. You can also add steps in the process. Prepare for my client meeting, and then you could say, begin by asking me if they have any specific concerns or issues I want to discuss with my client. Wait for me to input my response to your questions into ChatGPT. Provide detailed, insightful information to me about the raised concerns, ask the next logical question that I should be asking to the client, repeats steps 1 through 4 until the client indicates they are satisfied. So I'm wondering how many of you are prompting in this fashion. If not, this is where you want to get to. And this spreadsheet, which you can get access to by joining our community, is gonna help you with that. So boom, let's begin the process as you outlined. Step 1, what specific concerns or issues does your client have about trademark infringement threat letter they received that you would like to discuss during the upcoming meeting? I do have a specific concern about this threat letter. I'm trying to understand how much of a budget the client would have if they got sued in court in order to defend their trademark. I also need to understand what the impact would be on my client if they had to rebrand as a result of this trademark infringement threat letter. All right, I'm going to plug this into ChatGPT. And great, now it's going to take us through these steps. Those are important aspects to consider. Step 2, budget for legal offense. All right, 3, impacting of rebranding. Okay, so now it's providing us some more context that we can share with the client or that the client can understand before speaking to the attorney. All right, step 4, how attached is your client to the current mark, and would they be willing to consider a settlement negotiation with the other party that might include changes to their brand identity? And boom. That is indeed a great question that I plan on discussing with my client. I do not know the answer, but I also understand that the thought of rebranding can be traumatic for a company since they already own a domain name that incorporates the brand and their customers already know them as that brand. So will you help me? Now you can actually do this within the playground as well and use this as input, but it's more complex. We'll get to that in a later video. You can see here, you've got a lot of different options: temperature, maximum length, top P, frequency. You know, there's all kinds of different things that you have to understand how to use in order to use this particular tool in order to be a surrogate for ChatGPT. And ChatGPT 4 is going to show up here in the sidebar at some point, but it is not available yet in my iteration of the playground. It's coming. All right, so here you can see it's helping me help the client. And again, I can share this in preparation for our call. So let's just stop and take a breath and think about this. Lawyers, I know you're concerned. You're thinking, oh my gosh, we're teaching clients how to engage in self-help. Well, I got news for you. That's been happening ever since the internet and the ability of clients to gain access to legal information that was only available in law books and the expertise, the head of the attorney. Now, so much of it's available online. This is a continuation of the current trend of client empowerment. Is this the end of the world? I submit it is not, because now I'm going to spend the same amount of time with my client, but I'm going to have much higher level, much more strategic discussions that allow me to really bring my expertise to the forefront without having to go through a lot of the basics that take up a lot of time, provide some value to the client, but not maximum value to the client. So the goal here is to continue to spend time with your clients on higher level, more strategic activities that help them grow and become successful in their business. So boom, excellent prompting response by ChatGPT. So let's go ahead and see where we are here in our outline. We've talked about these different frameworks that you want to be using, thinking about setting the role. We give some examples here of setting the role. You're going to be a collaborator. You're going to be a thought partner. You're going to be a critic. You're going to be a teacher. You're going to be an expert. You're going to be a lawyer. You're going to be a client. You're going to be a customer. You have to let ChatGPT know what kind of assistant it is. Okay, assigning the tasks. What are you asking your assistant to do? And that seems like it's probably the easiest part, right? Improve an email, write an email, create an outline, provide ideas, answer questions, provide authority, create a list of questions, help me prepare, whatever it happens to be, right? So assigning the task is, I think, what we do pretty well. What we need to do is build around that task and get much more comprehensive output from our AI. All right, we talked about format, provide a list, provide a PowerPoint in an outline format or as software code. We talked about context, striking the right tone. This is important. So ChatGPT does some amazing things with tone. So let's just go ahead and play around with that. I'm going to say to ChatGPT, I want you to help me draft an email to the client. The client is an AI company who has retained us to draft website agreements, including a privacy policy. The client needs to be aware of the fact that the more they help us with this background information and project, the less the cost of the project is going to be. In a professional tone, I want you to provide me a 2-paragraph example of an email I might send to the client. So what we're going to do here is we're going to then change the tone, and you're going to see how ChatGPT adapts to that. All right, so, and I've given you a whole bunch of prior videos on how different tools to use in order to improve your emails that don't necessarily require you to go to the ChatGPT tool. We'll be talking more about that in the future. All right, so you can see, I hope this email finds you well as we move forward. We would like to ensure that our work is as efficient as possible. We greatly appreciate your collaboration in providing us with detailed background, especially given your operation in the AI industry. Your insights and expertise about business operations are invaluable in helping us create documents. Furthermore, the more precise information you provide, the more time we can save you in drafting. So see how artfully it incorporated this concept of cost saving. Mine was really direct and kind of harsh. ChatGPT has spun this into an amazing email which strikes just the right tone. But let's go ahead and change the tone. Let's go ahead and be confrontational. This client has not been cooperative in providing us the information we need, yet has been demanding and wanting our work product. I need you to be more aggressive and confrontational in letting them know that without the background information, we cannot complete our work. All right, so now we're taking a more aggressive tone in our email. You notice it's giving me a more aggressive subject, urgent. And I emphasize the importance of providing detailed background information. Drafting your agreements is a complex process. Unfortunately, our team has encountered difficulty in advancing this project due to the lack of adequate information from your end. Without this critical information, we cannot ensure that the agreements we create adequately protect you. Moreover, efficiency and cost effectiveness, I want to stress that we are committed to delivering high-quality service that meets your needs and expectations. However, this can only be achieved with your active cooperation in providing the necessary details. Wow. Okay, let's go. This is good, because let's just go back and see what I said. Client has not been cooperative, yet it's been demanding. I want you to be more aggressive and confrontational in letting them know that without the background information, we cannot complete the work. I could have sent an email saying, look, without this background information, we cannot complete our work, and you need to step up to the plate and provide us what we requested. As a client, would you rather get that email or this really well-drafted email, which is firm, but hits the nail on the head in terms of what is required? So I've said it before, and I'll just stop and say it again. ChatGPT AI is one of the greatest relationship tools ever created. And one of the many reasons why that is true is because its ability to draft emails that are appropriate, that are polite, that get the information conveyed in a way that is much more artful than most, definitely me, can do in drafting emails. And so that strengthens your relationship with adverse counsel. You have ChatGPT finesse your kind of aggressive responses or short responses that are, don't elaborate. Plug those into ChatGPT and watch the magic. Watch what happens when you send those GPT emails to an adversary, how they respond versus how they would have responded to you in your traditional email approach. All right, let's try something here. I want you to change this email. I am good friends with this client, so I'm giving you permission to be witty and playful in drafting this email. All right, so let's see what ChatGPT comes up with. All right, let's team up to slay the website agreement dragon. Good subject. I hope all is well in the kingdom of company name now. I might not be a wizard with the magic wand, but as your trusted legal sidekick, I do need a dash of your secret sauce to work some legal magic for your website agreements and privacy policies. So you can see you can really massage these emails any way that you want to, and the better you get at it, the more you're putting in the correct context, the correct tone on the front end in order to generate the work product that you're looking for. All right. If you liked this video, I have a big favor for you to ask. Two things. One, I want you to subscribe to the channel. And two, I want you to share this video by email, text message, social media with someone else you think might find value in not only this video, but if you look back, some of the other videos that we've done helping professional users of AI 10x their abilities. Remember that the links that you need in order to join the community or access some of the resources we referenced in this video can be found in the description.